a front row seat to the untold stories as we talk about how to live life on your terms. You're officially part of the inner circle. Welcome to Courtside with Courtney. And don't worry, I comped your ticket. Welcome back to another episode of Courtside with Courtney. We're going to come real close into the inner circle today, and I want to talk about something I'm very passionate about, and that's excuses in a relationship. Now, obviously, this can go both ways. Girls can also make excuses. They can even make all of these same excuses. But since I date guys, we're going to shit on the boys today. Okay, so if a guy does any of these things, I suggest you have a very serious conversation with him, evaluate if you want to date them, or run for the hills. Because for me, these have all been like major red flags in past relationships and situations that I'm unwilling to tolerate. And I think that you guys should be too. So excuses that guys can make in a relationship that I think are cause for concern, we'll call it. Number one, if the guy is willing to protect someone else's feelings and at the expense of yours. In other words, if he is willing to hurt your feelings because he's not willing to share where you guys are, where you stand in your relationship with someone else or set a boundary, I think it's such a crock of shit. So say you're dating someone and you just started dating someone new and you just defined the relationship. You've decided you're going to be exclusive. This is your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever. Okay. I feel like it's 2024 and somehow there's 24 stages that you can be in a relationship. I get being exclusive, but like, I'm sorry, bitch, like that's your boyfriend. And if this man can't get on board with that, let me rewind it because I'm coming in hot today, but here's how I feel about it. Roll the tape back a little. When a guy says they want to be exclusive with you, great, grand, especially if he brings it up. I think he should be bringing it up because I feel like if you're the one having to ask or beg for that and he's not necessarily in that place, it might not work out. You want him to get to a place where he simply doesn't want to see other people or date other people, not because he can't or because he'd get in trouble if he did, but because he just doesn't want to, because he's happy and excited about you. And if he has free time, and he wants, like with girls at least, then he is coming to spend that free time with you. Like that's the goal, right? Not that he just can't do it because technically he would get in trouble or whatever. You just don't want him to even want to do it. That's, for me, at least, the goal. That's like when I feel good about like, okay, yeah, we can be exclusive. Let's do it. I have an issue with people who then want to be in that stage way too long. I think there's like an appropriate amount of time to be in the stage, but I think it could be different for everybody. You could be exclusive for a week and decide, you know what, we're acting like we're in a relationship. We might as well be. Or you could do that for a month and then decide to be in an actual relationship and give it a title. I get that the title isn't important to a lot of people. And I'm not even making an argument that like it needs to be. It's more just like, give me the difference. If you can't date, sleep with, text, entertain other people, what else do you call that besides having a girlfriend, having a boyfriend? Like what else is it if it's not that, you know? So for me, it is pretty in alignment. I just think the argument, I'll oppose myself for a minute. The argument on the other side of that is at the end of the day, if you're just still in the phase where you've decided I want to commit to only seeing you and dating you or like being exclusively hooking up with you or whatever, but I still want to get to know you. Let's further get to know you before I give you that title. It's like a promotion at work. You know, they kind of got to work for it a little bit. So I do think that there's like a good grace period there. I'm not saying do it all the same day per se, but there's also exceptions to that rule. And sometimes like that time period short. I just think when it gets too long, it's cause for concern because it's they want to have all of the benefits of dating you without having to actually say they have a girlfriend, which to me is just shady. So having said that, that was like a little bit of a tangent and I guess a whole other excuse that we look out for as well. But say you start dating someone new and it's recent. I feel like in the beginning of every new relationship, you have to do what I like to call a clearing of the debris. This is really the time when you're on your little paddle board and you're sifting through like, oops, there's that guy that I texted 2 months ago. Oh, there's that girl that you used to hang out with 6 weeks ago. Like there's a little bit of like this debris that you're kind of paddling through, which can be annoying in the beginning, honestly. But you just have to handle it. Whether that's like responding to someone and setting a boundary and saying, hey, like I'm seeing someone now or I have a girlfriend, I have a boyfriend or whatever, or it's just not giving them any response, then in that case, like no response is a response. You're setting the boundary. Like I'm not going to respond or dignify this like with a response, but like I'm good. There is something to be said about that. Like to me, that's very positive. Either saying nothing because you don't want to reopen that door, or saying something and setting a boundary, letting someone know that you are now dating someone. I think it gets sticky and we'll call it unfortunate when a guy isn't willing to hurt another girl's feelings and like needs to look like the good guy. Like that annoys the shit out of me. Because if you see a girl out at the bar and I don't want to be mean, I don't want to be rude, I don't want to like tell her I'm dating someone and hurt her feelings. It's like by doing that or not doing that, you're actually hurting the person's feelings that you are dating. And if you don't have the backbone or ability to prioritize that, you have no business having a girlfriend. So to me, I think that's like such a red flag. If someone is more concerned with looking like the nice guy, because you can set a boundary and be kind about it. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to be a dick. You can just say, I'm seeing someone now, so I'm not interested, but like, I hope that things are good for you. You can do that in a way that I think is as like respectful as it can be. You don't need to be rude or harsh but like still set a boundary. So I'm all for that. And I think it's such an excuse when people say, I just don't want to hurt their feelings. Like I didn't want to bring it up. It's like, no, you just didn't want them to know because you want to keep your options open, or you don't have a backbone, or you're more concerned with you looking like a good person and a good guy than my feelings. And like, I'll just never be down for that. You shouldn't either. So that's excuse number one. Excuse number two, that's just me. I dated someone a bit ago, and one thing that he would always say was like, that's just me, which is so annoying because at the end of the day, if you aren't a good communicator, you should work on it. If you have an avoidant or an anxious personality, attachment style, and you haven't found that equilibrium of like healthy attachment style, you should work on that. If you aren't good at remembering to text the person that you're dating at the end of the day, and that's something that's important to them, like you should work on that, whatever it is, right? Like it doesn't matter. It could be big or small, but just to say that's just me is essentially saying, I'm not going to change. This is how I am. Take it or leave it. This is just me. And to me, it's like, you obviously don't give a fuck about the person that you're dating's feelings, because that's not how you would respond if you did. It would be like, you know what? This is inherently like not easy to me. This doesn't come natural to me, but I will absolutely work on that for you. Thank you for letting me know how you feel. Not like, that's just me. Say you love flowers and you say, hey, it would really mean a lot to me if you bring me flowers. And the guy says like, I'm not into flowers. That's just not me. It's like, I didn't ask if it was you. I said, this is something that I needed. So I think that's like another huge red flag is when guys say that's just me. Or an example of this, if they're not a good texter, would be, I'm just not good at texting. I'm just not good at communicating. It's like, okay, I can recognize that. But if you care and you are actively always bettering yourself, which for me personally is an absolute must in a relationship. Like it's such an ick if someone doesn't want to better themselves, that if you are out here bettering yourself in a relationship, you will want to know what that looks like. Like you will want to say, oh, okay, like tell me about that. What kind of communication do you like? You know what? I'm really busy at work today and I can't communicate with you all day, but I would love to like be able to do a better job at that. I'll absolutely work on it. Like communicate that's just me, or I'm not good at communicating, or I'm not good at texting. All they're saying is I have no desire to get better at something that you've expressed is important to you. And for me, that's just never going to be the vibe. Number 3 of excuses people make in a relationship, not setting an expectation. This is so key. I will give you guys a good example of a time when this has been done really well, in my opinion. I have been seeing someone that had friends in town for the weekend. And he said, my friends are in town tonight and I'm going to have like some time with them during the day. And I would really love to see you tonight if you want to come. I'm hosting them. I won't be able to leave them and go and like find you somewhere. But if you would like to come meet us, I would love for you to meet them and I would love to be there. That is such a green flag to me. Green flag, you're not willing to just like ditch your friends, because I wouldn't either. You expressed that you want to see me and you want me to be here. It's not like a if you want, because that's also so annoying when someone's like, I'm here if you want. It's like, well, do you want me to or not? Right? So when someone asserts that and says like, I would love to see you, I want you to be here. And I'm going to spend this amount of time with my friends. I will let you know when we're done. And if that works for you, amazing. Like that's such a good communication. People that are unwilling to set that expectation, I think is either a lack of emotional maturity, lack of communication skills, like really it's just a lack of them knowing how to handle themselves and be a man, be an adult. And that just kind of be a bigger ick to me. So for me, being able to set that expectation is great because you know what you can expect and what you can look forward to. Say a guy is out with his friends and he says, I would love to see you and I really want you to come. I'm going to also be spending time with my friends, so I won't be able to give you 100% of my attention, but I would absolutely love to see you. That's hot to me. Like that's good. If you don't tell someone that and they think that you're going to show up and give them all your attention and then you didn't communicate that or express that, and all of a sudden you're not really paying attention to them and they may think like, oh, what's wrong? So it's really all about setting that expectation. I think if you're able to set an expectation, huge green flag. I'm giving you guys a little tea today. You know, we're spilling a little bit of tea because I'm telling you a lot of like actual things that have happened to me. But the other fourth and last excuse that I feel like I see people make a lot in relationships. No, you know what? I'm going to give you one more after this bonus. But number 4 is going to be people who are unwilling to ease your anxiety because it's just not a big deal. So I was dating this guy. Okay. Throw the note card. Your girl doesn't need it. I was dating this guy and I was at a photo shoot for Dibs one time. And I remember we had each other's locations because we were dating for like quite a while at this point. And we had each other's locations and I like pulled it up for some reason, which I didn't really check it that often, which is a whole other conversation. Is it healthy? Is it not? I think it absolutely is healthy and can be really convenient unless you are doing it because you don't trust the person, in which case you just shouldn't be dating them in the first place, which is probably the case here if we're being so honest about it. But I had it pulled up for some reason. All of a sudden, this man turns his location off, which to me is like immediate antenna is up. Okay. And so I texted him, like asked what he was up to. And he's like, oh, I'm at home. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Why is your location off then? He's like, oh, I just didn't want like all my friends, like everyone seeing where I was. Why? Why would you not want everyone seeing where you were? Like, that's weird, right? So immediately it's just like memes, make it make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's probably off. And I was at my Dibs photo shoot. He had every opportunity to comfort me, try to make me feel better. And instead, because this person was, in my opinion, a manipulative person, he tried to stress me out more to gain that control and that power. And like, that is unforgivable in my opinion. So I FaceTimed him and which again, like Courtney today healed and like in such a different place is like, bitch, why would you not have just broken up with him on the spot? Like that's some grade A bullshit right there. Like today, I would never tolerate that ever. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring these things up because I don't want you guys to tolerate this stuff either. So I FaceTimed him and he's like up against this white wall that has a background. He's like, hey. And I'm like, hey, like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just at my house. And I'm like, oh, cool. That would be the time if you wanted to ease someone's anxiety, you would have been like, yeah, look, like I'm at my house, right? Nope. This man stays up against the wall and he's like, oh, I'm playing video games. I have to go. Hangs up. Video games. I should have stopped there, but hangs up the phone. No desire to make me feel better in any way, if anything. I think he also said something, it was a while ago at this point, but he also said something along the lines of like, oh, well, you should just trust me. I shouldn't have to like prove that, which honestly is true. That statement in and of itself. But you saying that is like a reason alone why I don't trust you. So you should try to ease the other person's anxiety. Yeah, I'm home. No worries. Like, here's why I did that versus actively trying to stress someone out if they're out of town like that on a work trip is so like shit in my mind. So I would never tolerate that now, but it's just an example. So many other things in my life, right? Where people have either chosen to affirm me, or I've chosen to affirm them or not, right? Versus being stressed out. And you just shouldn't be with someone that stresses you out and makes you feel crappy about yourself. So number 5, my bonus things that I just would not put up with in a relationship or red flags, excuses that people make. When someone tells you from the beginning that they do not want a relationship and they do not want to date you, they're very clear about it, and then proceed to act as though they do want to date you and as though they do want a relationship. That is a massive red flag to me because what they've done is they have put you in a position where they're going to get what they want. They're going to have their cake and eat it too. And you can't be upset about it. And you can't be mad about it. And you don't have a right to be mad about it because they told you they did not want to date you. So when someone comes to you and they tell you and they show you who they are, believe them, please. Please, if you trust me on one thing, believe them. Because when a guy says to you, oh, I love hanging out with you. I just don't want a girlfriend right now, but like, I'm definitely down to hang out. Of course you are. Of course you are. But this idea surrounding like changing his mind is not okay, because you're now putting yourself in a position where you're not only chasing this man, but now you're going off hope of, I hope he changes his mind. You have to take people as they are today. And if as they are today is not okay with you, exciting for you, good enough for you, then it's probably just not the person for you, right? But to sit and have a guy tell you, I do not want to date you, but I will act like I'm dating you, essentially with my words and action, is 100% their get out of jail free way to get everything they want, have their cake and eat it too. And you can't say a damn thing about it because they told you. So it's, to me, such an excuse. Those are, like, I would say just the first 5 that came to mind as far as excuses people could make in a relationship that I personally think are just never the vibe. But let me know if you guys want a part 2 of this episode, because I think that could be really fun. Other excuses that people make that I've personally experienced, or green flags, red flags, just any other spinoffs of this episode. Comment and let me know below. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.